We'll see what happens with Iran. If they do anything, it will be a very bad mistake. If they do anything, I'm hearing little stories about Iran. If they do anything, they will suffer greatly. We'll see what happens with Iran.
On to talk about all of this with me is Larry Wilkerson, former Chief of Staff to the Secretary of State Colin Powell, and now a distinguished adjunct professor of government and public policy at the College of William and Mary. Larry, good to have you here with us. All right, Larry, last time the U.S. asserted aggression of this kind in the region, it was against Iraq under the Bush administration, under Dick Cheney's administration. You were there inside the administration at the time. The Trump-Bolton-Pompeo plan will need a willing Pentagon. Apparently, Bolton is now not working at the White House on these plans. He's actually lodged himself at the Pentagon.
Sharmini, you characterized the situation quite well when you compared it to the catastrophic decision and then execution of that decision to invade Iraq in 2003. We're looking at essentially the same train of events leading up to what could very well be at least a bombing, if not an invasion of Iran. And to answer your question directly, we don't have Jim Mattis in the Pentagon anymore. What we have is a sycophant, a member of the military-industrial complex par excellence, a Boeing man, Patrick Shanahan. So we do not have any kind of opposition at the highest level in the Pentagon. What we have is a man who will say, yes, sir, 3 bags full, and how high do you want me to jump? And oh, give me some more instruction before I come down. That's Patrick Shanahan. That said, there are some people in the Pentagon who will rue the day and will try to stop that day from arriving that military action against Iran is taken that might prove as unsatisfactory as it's going to be. And I mean the kind of military action, for example, we took against Syria, where we throw a few bombs and shoot a cruise missile or 2 and so forth, or even shoot a lot of missiles or drop a lot of bombs. All that's going to do is strengthen the resolve of Iran, put 80 million people in Iran against the United States instead of just the government and a few other hardliners. And it's going to cause us to have to reconsider everything we've done. And ultimately, the only thing we can do at that time to save face, as well as to carry out our policy, will be to invade. And that will be a disaster that will make the 10 years in Iraq look like child's play by comparison, because Iran is not Iraq. I can't say that enough times. It's 80 million people, not 26 million people. It's 4 times the size of Iraq. It is not flat desert. It is very forbidding mountains, the Zagros Mountains, for example. It is territory that almost killed Alexander the Great. It is people who are solid in their homogeneity, more or less. It is a country that does have millions of men under arms and women too. And it has a special operating force that has learned, since we gave it the strategic power and position in the Gulf by taking out Saddam Hussein, how to fight. It learned how to fight in Iraq. It learned how to fight in Syria. It knows how to do what is called asymmetric warfare. If we want to see the Saudi oil fields go up in smoke under 200 or 300 Iranian ballistic missiles, let's just keep on going. I'm hearing it from Berlin. I'm hearing it from Paris, from Brussels, from London, from Tokyo. I'm hearing it from all over the world. What has happened to the United States? Can we no longer depend on the United States? Can we no longer even look to the United States to be anything other than a warmonger and an economic sanctioner? That's the only thing we see coming out of Washington these days, other than trade wars, which, by the way, are not benefiting us or the global community at all. This is really a disaster, they say. When you saw the British Major General the other day object to the intelligence characterization of Iran made by John Bolton and others in the United States, you saw the British military telling the U.S. military it was full of it. That's almost unprecedented.
Larry, the current situation in the Persian Gulf is being compared to the Gulf of Tonkin. Now, you are the historian on U.S. military adventures around the world. What do you make of these military measures being taken by the U.S. at the moment?
Well, we've had so many Gulfs of Tonkin, Sharmini. I mean, we had the one that actually was the Gulf for Vietnam. We had a similar one for the Mayaguez incident right after that. We had, of course, my own Gulf of Tonkin, which was Dick Cheney and Condi Rice saying we don't want the smoking gun to be a mushroom cloud. We've had politicized intelligence and politicized incidents in the world that led to war ever since the Maine blew up in the harbor of Cuba. But let's just look at the situation today and say that it is far more profound, far more common, far more intense, and leads me to say that I wouldn't doubt for a moment that we might manufacture a so-called Gulf of Tonkin incident in the Persian Gulf in order to allow us to commence bombing Iran. My question again of these people, whether they be military professionals or civilian decision makers or advisors, my question is, what do you do when the bombing doesn't work? Because it won't work. And then you have to invade. You have just caused yourself to enter a situation that just might finally unwind this empire for all time. So why would you want to start on that path? Why would you want to embark on that path? Are you going to drop the bombs and then say everything's copacetic now, we taught them a lesson, we can go away? Because those bombs aren't going to do anything to accomplish our objectives, the most prominent of which is no nuclear weapon in Iran at all. So what are we going to do? Invade and ensure that there's no nuclear weapon? We do that and we are finished in the Middle East and maybe finished for a long time globally. It would be an order of magnitude tragedy for the United States to invade and try to occupy this country of 80 million people, 4 times the size of Iraq. Just absolute catastrophe.